What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the RV Files podcast. Super stoked you can be here. Happy fucking Friday the 13th, people. Yep, today is Friday the 13th, and what better way to kick it off than by doing a ranking of all the Friday the 13th films. Yes, we're going to go through all the best and the worst of my boy Jason Voorhees. So we're going to kick off this motherfucking shit. And yes, I'm going to be doing more ranking videos, of course, in the future. And I thought, what better way to kick it off than doing one of my favorite franchises of all time in the horror genre and the slasher genre than doing the Friday the 13th films. I'm a huge fan of Jason Voorhees, but he does definitely have some shitty-ass movies, for sure. The franchise has always been up and down. Definitely not everybody's acquired taste, but I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies. And this is going to be a ranking, and I know some of you guys are going to agree with some of my movies, and then I know some of them you're going to be like, what the fuck, why is that so high on the list? But nonetheless, we'll go through them, and I'll definitely, explain why. So let's get this baby started, and let's have some fun with this. So this is going to go from the worst films down to the best ones in my ranking. Obviously, it's my personal opinion, and I know everybody has their own. And, if you have your own rankings, I would love to hear it down below in the comments. And just remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of stuff. But I'll definitely be doing more videos on different rankings. So this one I thought was going to be a great one. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th franchise. But definitely there's a lot of those movies that are just so fucking bad. And there's the good bad ones too. So we're going to kick it off. There's 12 of them in the franchise. So we're going to start off with number 12. So coming in at number 12 for me is going to be Jason X. I absolutely fucking hate this movie. It is so terrible. I don't know where to begin with this movie. It is just so bad. If you ever seen it, I remember seeing a poster when I was very young. I was a kid, and I went to the theaters and I saw this poster on the wall of upcoming films, and it was Jason X, and I was just like, dear fucking God, no way are they sending my boy into space. When you send a character, especially a horror slasher character, into space, you know that the fucking franchise is done. You know that you're in the bottom of the barrel, because when you ship somebody off into space that has no fucking reason to be in space in the first place, like Jason, or even when they send Leprechaun or whoever the fuck else they want to send to space, your RIP, your franchise is like, goodbye. It's in the fucking wind, because it just... why would you do that? I mean, it's so horrible. And I remember it happening a lot in the early 2000s. And I guess that was the cool thing to do, was like send villains and evil slashers and stuff into space for some odd reason in the year 2066 or something stupid. Yeah, definitely a horrible choice, and definitely horrible movie to go with it. Yeah. Why? What you do? So yeah, when it comes to Jason X, the movie looks like a sci-fi made for television movie. If you ever remember the Sci-Fi Channel and like their older movies, they did not look good. They look very low budget, and even like all the space setups when they ever did like sci-fi films. Yeah, when it comes to like the whole setup and the whole like the studio setup of it, all the studios and then their whole like props and everything, it always looked the same for some odd reason to me. Like all those space movies back in the 2000s, early 2000s, they all had the same kind of look, and it looked like it was the same set and the same setup design. And I was just always like, this just looks like a fucking another sci-fi movie I just watched. Like, is it the same setup, the same studio? Like, it's horrible. So Jason X had the same ugly ass look to it. And, even coming down to like the way they even made Jason look in that film, I didn't like how he looked. His mask looked very, very weird. It had like this pig nose. And I don't know if you guys know the band Slipknot, but one of the original bass players, Paul Gray, rest in peace, Paul. He had this pig looking mask from Slipknot. And for some odd reason, when I seen that Jason mask design, it looks like a pig snout, like kind of nose on it. And it just didn't look very intimidating at all. It just looked like very Halloweenish and like a Halloween costume-ish, and just was like non-believable. And then not only that, when they have like Uber Jason come out, I hated that. I mean, he just looks like a robot, this fucking goofy ass, half biomechanical kind of Jason. all the characters are very throwaway. I mean, they usually all are, but like they were so cheesy and so dumb and like extra dumb, dumber than the average fucking Jason films. But these guys are so stupid and they're fucking navigating on a spaceship. So I'm like, this is the dumbest crew ever. So it just took me out of everything. There's like one cool kill when it comes to the like the cryo freezing face scene. I don't know if you guys seen it, and she gets her face shattered. That was cool. I mean, that's one of the only cool takeaways. But God, was this movie so fucking awful to get through, and I hate it. It just stands on its own fucking level, and it sucks on so many levels. If you guys get that one, props to you. But yeah, moving on to number 11, we're jumping now into Freddy vs. Jason, another movie I do not like at all. Freddy vs. Jason was just so cheesy and once again had some weird look to it that it looked like it was actually like a Universal Studios, Halloween haunt maze kind of thing. It just, the colors and the lighting, it just looked like a Halloween maze, and even the costume design, especially on Jason, like he looked like literally like a costume you could pick up at like Spirit, Spirit costumes. And like his ragtag looking like somebody got scissors and cut his freaking, his whole shirt apart and stuff like that. And the holes just look manufactured. It just did not look good. Like the whole look of Jason was pretty bad. And, obviously he always had like the dead look, but this one he had like an extra dead eye and just looked pretty goofy to me. And I don't know, it was weird because I don't know if the lighting or it's been so long since I've seen it because I really don't revisit that movie at all. But Jason like has like this whole like black look to him. Like it's just not, he has no color to him. It just looks like a black a bald cap on and something like that. And I don't know, it just didn't look good. And the story was so stupid. I don't know how you can merge those two characters together. One's definitely haunts your dreams and kills you in your fucking dreams, and then this one's in real life. So I was wondering how they're going to merge it, and it was merged pretty corny. There's some scenes that were pretty dumb where, like, Freddy's, like, a caterpillar from, like, the Alice in Wonderland, and I know he does some, like, pretty cheesy shit, but, man, this was fucking rough, and I fucking hated it. And, it just did not work for me. Nothing did. The only thing that was cool about it, and it's not the fucking movie, it was the soundtrack. It had a pretty badass soundtrack to it, but other than that, the movie fucking sucked. So, yeah. I give that one definitely a thumbs down. Definitely not rewatchable in my book. I just think it sucks. It just wasn't good. It wasn't fun. The kills were not that great. It was, and I don't know, just everything about it. Not a good one. So I don't know if you guys like that one, but yeah, that's like the Universal Studios Haunted Maze movie. So yeah, fuck that one. Now moving on to number 10, and man, I was kind of debating on, these are like the worst of the worst. I mean, I hate these ones. And, once we get towards the middle, it gets a little bit more like, okay, I do like them for certain reasons and I don't, but this is still in Shitsville. And this one could have easily been replaced with Freddy vs. Jason as one of the worst ones, but man, Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Holy shit, what a fucking garbage movie. Where do I begin with this one too? It's so freaking bad. So this movie literally should have been called Jason on a fucking Boat most of the movie, because the title is so misleading and it just does not work for the damn movie, because he's not in fucking Manhattan he's only in Manhattan for like 10 minutes. And most of the movie he's on a fucking boat killing people on a ship or whatever, and it's stupid. And like the title and even like in the trailer, it shows like him like taking over Manhattan and all this crazy shit, and you're just like, oh shit, Jason's gonna be in the big city and fucking certain LA people everywhere out there. No, he's got like 10 minutes worth of Manhattan, and it's like whatever. And now back to the costume design. The costume design was pretty fucking terrible. He's slimy Jason. That's what I call this one. He's slimy Jason because he just looks like this pale, fucking off-colored gray slimy thing throughout the whole movie. His suit's always wet because he's in the water, but he never dried off, I guess, and just slippery and gross, and I don't know, it just didn't look cool. The design sucked. Even when they do the reveal of his, his face, it just looks stupid and silly. Nothing scary. Just looks like this gray, mushy thing, and yeah, it's gross, but not in a cool, gross way, if that makes any sense. Yeah, that was pretty terrible. And like the kills were pretty shitty. The acting was really bad. You know, you don't really go to these movies for all the acting anyways, but fuck, like I don't know. A lot of it didn't make sense. Like there was just scenes jumping one after another, and like there's a scene where like Jason seems to have supernatural powers because like he just appears in all these fucking spots and stuff. Not fun, not for me. Friday 13 Part 8 is just, man, I hate it. It just sucks. And there's not really any memorable kills. There's only one memorable kill. It's definitely the head knocking off scene when Jason's getting pieced up for a little bit, and then Buddy says, "Give me your best shot," and then Jason just fucking knocks his head off. And that's the only cool thing. Other than that, that movie can go straight to the fucking dumpster, and I don't recommend it. But if you want to watch a shit show of a movie and get a laugh out of it, it is definitely up there. Oh yeah, and like the way it ends and Jason in the water and all this shit, yeah, just it sucks. I don't recommend watching it. Okay, jumping into number 9, and this one might have a little controversy with it for people because I feel like it does stand high on a lot of people's standards for some odd reason, and I kind of get it, but at the same time I don't. It's going to be Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. I don't really understand why it's such a like love film. I know that this was the introduction of Kane Hodder as Jason Voorhees, and I know that people like his presence and like how he carried it, which he did. He did carry the presence of Jason and making him a little bit more like scary, intimidating, like more like you can see his breathing, and even the costume design. I'll have to say it's pretty fucking badass costume design, and the way you can see his spine when he comes out of the water and stuff like that, and he's got the broken mask where you can see some of the mouth, and overall his design in that one was really fucking cool. It looked like they put a lot of effort in the special effects department, and where it falls short and shitty with me is like the whole story was pretty dumb. Like Jason gets resurrected by some chick who has psychic powers, and it's like her back, but for some odd reason, her parents are dead. She tries to bring him back, but for some odd reason, like she triggers Jason to come back to life because I guess there's no other way he can come back at this point. So she resurrects him and all this shit, and now we got Psychic Girl versus Jason, Kane Hodder Jason, and the whole story and the movie. It's weird because the characters, you fucking hate them all. They all pretty much suck. The dialogue is, like I said, you don't go there watching these movies for like dialogue and a cool storyline and oh my god, like I love this couple and blah 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 blah. Like no, you don't. But all the characters are super fucking annoying, extra annoying, and you kind of don't even give a shit to root for anybody to be like the final girl or the final couple or whatever the fuck it is. But like I don't know, even the way they talk and the way they present the dialogue, like the acting is just, it's not good at all, at least in my opinion. Yeah, the acting is not good at all, but it's the kills were okay, some cool stuff, and in this one it's kind of weird because Jason appears out of nowhere and like he always has like a new tool to kill somebody with. Like he's just showing up out of nowhere with like a fucking weed whacker and walking around killing somebody with a weed whacker, and then the next scene, he has another fucking like just like a machete or just something different all the time, and it's like, is he just going like to a tool shed that's nearby and has all these fucking different like weapons, like right around the corner? Kill somebody with a fucking I don't even know. It was weird. It looked like he killed somebody with like this weird fucking metal long triangle thing. I guess it's supposed to be like a stake to go on the ground, but I don't know. It was just like, where'd you find that prop or what the fuck, But I will say the one cool kill in this movie is it's a top kill too. And that's the only one that I really, really liked about this one was definitely the sleeping bag scene. So the sleeping bag scene is pretty fucking gnarly, and I've never seen that before in like any movie. So the fact that scene was in there alone, that was a cool kill. So all these, like even the shitty ones have at least one pretty fucking cool kill. And it's so weird too. I forgot to mention, and I just thought about it right now, was that this movie, and I think a couple of the movies, were actually butchered to shit by the studio. So that could be a reason why a lot of like jumpiness happens in this movie, because some scenes just seem to come out of nowhere. Some things just seem to cut real fast. And I know that I forgot who it was, if it was the studio or if it was the people doing the ratings, the MPAA or whatever the hell it is. I know I fucking have it right here, and whatever it is, because I'll look it up after. But I know that they butchered it to shit, and now that footage is lost. So even if there were like even better like kill scenes, a lot of it seemed like it was off screen, and it just happened all of a sudden. You don't see shit. So that's what takes me out of this movie too. Is that one? So part 7, cool but not cool. Eh. So coming in at number 8, we are going to go with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. And A New Beginning is weird because, spoiler if you haven't seen it, or if you want to watch it, stop this right now. But spoiler alert is that, this is the movie where there is a different killer and it's not Jason. So yeah, this is impersonator Jason. This is Roy Jason, and Roy Jason, it's pretty cool. I mean, it was a different idea. I kind of get that they wanted to probably get out of the whole, like, okay, let's, we're done seeing so much of Jason, but that's honestly the point of watching these movies, to see Jason do what Jason does to off freaking campers and to off, camp counselors. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? But anyways, I do think that this one was pretty fun. So like Tommy Jarvis is in like this whole facility that's out in the woods, and they're like, they're all crazy, and they're all there for various reasons for what they've done, or what kind of illness that they do have. But he's kind of being seen as he's possibly the guy that's Jason, and you kind of wonder, like, is it him? Because on one of the other movies, it kind of insinuated something about Tommy, and I kind of like it. It's kind of like a mystery at the same time, so it's kind of cool in that. And then even like some of the kills are pretty gnarly. The only thing that's kind of strange about part 5 is that Roy has like this weird super strength, it seems like, because when he kills people, it's pretty gnarly, and I'm like, damn, like this motherfucker is like gone ape shit, ham on shit, and like his motivation for why he does it, it's pretty cool. It's like, it's weird because now thinking about it, it's kind of like Scream before Scream. If you think about it, the concept is pretty much almost like that, especially for like like part 2 and like part 3, I believe. Yeah, like the motivation is there, and I was just like, hey, it's pretty gnarly, it's different. That's fine overall. So I definitely don't shit on part 5, but it's different. So if you're into it, and like I said, pretty fun to watch, and I would recommend that one. Coming in at number 7 would be Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake. So I remember watching this remake, and for some odd reason, I wasn't quite a fan right away. I was not super into it. I think I had like totally different expectations of the whole movie. The pacing is a little fast, and it's like, I get it that you're covering like part 1, 2, 3, kind of like all in one, because in the beginning you're kind of going through the whole thing when with his mom, her being the original killer, Mrs. Voorhees, and she's the original one. And then Jason comes back because obviously he wants to seek revenge for his mother and all the counselors that done him wrong. So that kind of speeds up into that story, and then you get introduced to the hockey mask. So everything kind of gets moved on fast. The cool thing too, I do like the way that he looks in this one too. And it's cool because you start off with the potato sack head Jason, and that one, he looked brutal as shit. And when he does his killings in that one, I was like, damn, this motherfucker's running. He's like doing all kinds of gnarly stuff. And I was like, okay, this seems pretty fun. So I was into that. Even some of the other kills are pretty cool. But then once the story keeps going, I get annoyed towards midway because the counselors or whatever, these people having fun. I don't even think they're counselors. I can't. It's been so long since I watched one, but I think they're just some people, little douchebag, teenagers that are having fun. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like their characters at all either. I know that it was made by, I believe, the same people that did Texas Chainsaw, the remake, and it kind of has that same vibe and same feel to it, and it looked pretty cool. So I was more harsher on it back then than I am now, but now looking back on it, like Jason looks cool, like his whole design, and some of the scenes and transitions are pretty gnarly too. Especially the scene with like when he's on the rooftop and stuff like that, and he jumps down. There's a pretty cool transition there. So definitely not terrible at all. And I would say if you didn't like it the first time around, it's pretty cool to go back and rewatch it because it does have some memorable stuff. So I would definitely say Good movie. The way that Jason even looks without his mask is pretty cool. Overall, I do like, even like I said, the potato sack Jason looks really cool, and even the hockey mask Jason looks cool. So, I would say watch it. And if you haven't watched it, I would recommend it. But if you have seen it and you weren't too big enough the first time around, I'd recommend just, giving it another watch. All right, we're jumping into number 6. And this is where I'm going to get into get some shit from a lot of people, because if you haven't heard it yet, you're probably wondering, where the fuck is this one on his rankings? Because that one's got to be one of the worst ones. But for some odd reason, for some nostalgic ass reason, I remember seeing this a lot as a kid, and it sticks with me, and I don't give a shit how bad it is. It's still fun for me, and even though it has nothing to do really with Jason and most of this fucking movie, if you haven't guessed yet, I'm talking about Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. I'm sorry, guys, but this movie does hold a certain spot for me, and I know it's terrible. I know it's awful. I know it shits on everything about Jason and like what he is, and they try to explain it in the most dumbest way, but I had fun with this movie. I do not care. I had fun watching this from start to end. And I know, I'm sorry, I'm going to hear it maybe in the comments. I don't know if whoever's a big Jason fan or Friday the 13th franchise fan, you probably will disagree with me, but maybe some of you won't. For some odd reason, I love Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. The kills are gnarly in this movie, even though it's not by Jason himself. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you might want to stop this and watch it. So, Jason, he gets killed right off in the very first, 10 minutes of the movie. And I like the way Jason looks in this one. He looks beefy as shit. He's, big. His fucking mask is, metal, and it's, melted in his head. And, you could see that the metal just, melted his skin, and it's fused with him. And I think it looks gnarly as shit. Even him looking 20 pounds heavier, he just looks like a wrecking force. And when he walks in those first couple of minutes, he just fucking lumbers through the woods, and you can hear those heavy footsteps. And I'm just like, holy shit, I wouldn't want to fuck with this guy, because this guy will just rip me apart. It's like, he just remind me of a grizzly bear just fucking running amok and shit with a machete. So I thought it was gnarly. And then what happens? They blow his ass up. I'm like, wait a minute, literally blow him up. There's this fucking whole SWAT team and shit fucking raining down and blasting him up, and fucking, fucking dumping all kinds of fucking lead into Jason. And then next thing you know, a grenade or something like that gets launched on his ass and blows him up into smithereens. And I'm like, where the hell is this fucking story gonna go? So what happens is, and this is where it starts getting absurd, is that so Jason essentially is passed on from body to body in a certain way. And we'll take more deep dives into these films, but I'm just gonna give a quick overall thing. And this is why people hate this movie, is that Jason is transferred from person to person, and his entity or the source of his evil and all this shit gets revealed. And it's pretty dumb, but I will say the kills are absolutely gnarly. I could just picture, I wish it was Jason doing those kills, because it would have looked pretty damn good, seeing him in the hockey match just doing all this shit. There's this tense scene where this couple's just going at it, and what happens is pretty freaking gnarly. But all of it, it's pretty crazy. It's a cheesy ride. I do like the characters in this one. I mean, you get some, it's weird because it's kind of like a horror comedy, and I don't know how the fuck that works, but it does work in this movie. And I do like some of the characters. Some of the characters are pretty damn cheesy, and some of them are pretty funny, to be honest. And I just love it. Yeah, it's got some charm to it, and I know it's stupid, but it's a fun one for me. And I just always hold it in a special place in my heart, just because I grew up watching it as a kid, and I just remember having fun with it. And me and my brother have we can recite certain lines from certain characters. So I don't know. Jason Goes to Hell. I mean, if you don't like it, you can go to hell. But no, just kidding. But definitely one that I like a lot. So love it, hate it, I don't know, but I have fun with it. All right, we're getting into our top 5 now. So I'm going to hit number 5 with Friday the 13th, Part 1, the original one. So this one is very weird because obviously, once again, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, but you should be watching this anyways. So I'm not going to say spoiler alert anymore. is that this one does not have Jason. The original movie was not a Jason Voorhees movie. He only came after part one. The original movie was actually his mom, Mrs. Voorhees. And Mrs. Voorhees, she's pretty gnarly as the killer in this movie. And it's more of a, you don't see anybody at all throughout the movie, but they're killing these camp counselors. And honestly, it's recorded very well. The characters are the characters and stuff. Their acting is really good. And you got Kevin Bacon in this damn movie. Young ass Kevin Bacon. And I don't know if it was it had to be one of his first films. If not, maybe his first film. Not too sure. But, definitely different. It's more of a POV kind of kill kind of movie. So it's kind of cool. I like that. And then you get the reveal at the end of it being Mrs. Voorhees and, her motivation for why she's killing these camp counselors and all this stuff. It's, it's because, her son Jason drowned, and it was because stupid counselors weren't paying attention to him. And he definitely had his deformity and they didn't give a fuck about him anyways. And she's out for revenge for his sake. And it's good. I mean, definitely not the best for sure, but it's a fun movie. And like I said, the kills are pretty fucking gnarly. And just overall, it just has like a cool look to it. I like it, all the whole lake scenes and stuff like that. And everybody, it was just fun, especially for the time, for the time of movies it was. And I'm pretty sure Halloween was out already. So everybody was kind of competing for like the Halloween kind of style and what production like was going to make a similar kind of slasher and their own kind of thing. And this was the birth of Friday the 13th, and that's where it all started. And at the end, you get Jason popping out, fucking doing his thing as a little kid, and then that leads up to the next one, part 2, and you're just kind of like, whoa, what's gonna happen now? Because little crazy Jason just came out of the lake and pulled this girl down. Are we going to continue it? Fuck yeah, we are. And guess what? That's what we're going to get. Jason Voorhees. So now, coming in at number 4, it's going to be Friday the 13th, Part 3. So Friday the 13th, Part 3, it's kind of funny because this movie was pretty much like a gimmick film. It was filmed for 3D. And, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where you could tell in this movie that there's a lot of those scenes that are supposed to be like 3D where it's jumping at you and like it was filmed that way. So when you're watching it, obviously not in 3D because we don't do that anymore, but it was just, I guess, like the whole thing at the time with the blue and red glasses and going to theaters and watching it and falling for that gimmick. But overall, it was still a fun movie besides those kind of like things that were just happening. And there's a scene that's still cool. And there's a couple of them that are meant for the 3D thing, but they still freaking work even today. And it, you got to think that back then, the special effects and stuff like that they're not going to be the greatest, obviously. And you could see certain things like strings and stuff. And I don't know, as long as you take yourself out of the element and have fun with it, it's a lot of fun. And this one is actually where we get introduced to Jason wearing the hockey mask, the iconic hockey mask. And so part 3 is where it's actually introduced. And after that, it was, it was, how do you say, it was history was written after that, and the icon was born of how he looks. So that's definitely where he got his look from. And I love Jason with the hockey mask. It's just iconic. His whole look in that whole movie too, he just looks crazy, beefy. The way he runs, the way he's after people, I thought it was very cool. The kills are freaking gnarly in this one. Like, I love certain scenes, and there's a lot of gnarly scenes. One thing I do hate about this movie though, and I just can never get over it, is I hate the final girl in this movie. The final girl is so fucking annoying, and it should have been somebody else in this movie. I wish it was her, but she gets fucking annihilated and in a fucked up way, and I was like, man, I wish it wasn't her. That sucks because she was pretty cool, and I thought they were building up to be like the main one, but oh well. We ended up with that other girl. But back to the kills. So the kills were freaking gnarly. There's one scene definitely where some dude is walking around doing some handstands and, crawls up on the wrong dude, Jason, and lo and behold, what body part is accessible right there? Use your imagination, people. Use your imagination. Yeah, so that was cool. The stoner couple's really gnarly too. They're funny as hell. I like them. It's got the whole Cheech and Chong kind of vibe, especially with the boyfriend. But overall, I really do like this movie. Like I said, the kills are freaking gnarly in this one too. Like there's a head squishing scene, and it's pretty intense. But yeah, overall, I really like Friday the 13th Part 3, and just everything about it from start to beginning. It's a wild ride. It's really fun, and I do highly recommend watching that one. Especially like I said, that's where you get the introduction to the hockey mask. Come on, you gotta watch it. So coming in at number 3 is Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with Friday the 13th Part 2. This is Potato Sack Head Jason. This is right before we get to the introduction of the hockey mask, but I do actually like the way that Jason looks. He looks like backwoods, hillbilly. You know, he's got that freaking potato sack on his head with like one eyeball cut out on the sack, and it just looks very backwoodish and pretty gnarly. And you know, everything's fun about this movie. You got the new camp counselors in, and they're a pretty interesting bunch too as well. A little bit more character development in this one, and I do like it a lot. Even the way it's shot, the way it looks, and the ambiance of it, it's pretty gnarly. And just the way even like Jason approaches his kills and stuff like that, it's pretty cool. And like, you know, the reveal of him at the end, how he looks, you know, he looks like very fucking hillbilly, hills have eyes kind of looking and shit. And overall, just a fun flick. Has a total ambiance to it. Like I said, the main characters I do really like, the final girl and the kills, and just the story overall is pretty gnarly. And then you got the freaking old man that's always like, you're all doomed, you're all doomed. And you know, he's in part 1 and he's in part 2, and thank God Jason does his thing with that guy, because fucker was annoying. But yeah, so Friday the 13th Part 2, definitely a great one. Like I said, overall, I highly recommend it. So that's a fun one to watch. Now we're coming down to the final 2 films, and it sucks that I like these films, or I love these films almost equally. I can go back and forth on them all the time, and it just depends on what day, what mood I'm in, but they're totally different in the way that Jason is, and just yeah, it's just both of them go back and forth. But I guess for the sake of ranking, and it could flip flop later on. You know, if I do another revisit of all of them, because like I said, it's been a long while since I've seen these movies. But coming in at number 2 is gonna be Friday the 13th Part 6. Jason Lives. Listen, I love Jason Lives. I love this one. This one is where we get introduced to Zombie Jason. So, you know, Zombie Jason is resurrected and he's gnarly as shit. Tommy Jarvis fucks up and brings him back to life. And, you know, the guy who plays Tommy is gnarly. I love that character. And this whole movie is so much fun. It's got like a whole like rock and roll kind of metal vibe to it. Jason is gnarly in it, and his kills are insanely cool. Yeah, it's and the characters are fun, and everybody in it it's cool. And the whole story of these camp counselors, you know, they all kind of follow like that whole like, oh, camp counselors are coming in, Jason does his thing. But this one, you know, it has a lot more story to it. The sheriff of the town is fun. He's funny. His partner's just an idiot and stuff like that. So it's fun watching him do his thing too. But overall, this movie has some, like I said, gnarly kills. Jason, for some odd reason, has like utility belt Jason, and it's got some weird comedy moments too in it. And there's like some scenes where like these coworkers are like out like paintball shooting, and some shit happens to them, and they run into Jason, obviously. But like the way he kills them, and certain things just happen, and it's a lot of fun. And even like the way Jason looks, I like the way he looks in this one, and just his machete wielding ways is pretty gnarly. And yeah, and the soundtrack, like I said, you got Alice Cooper with Teenage Frankenstein, great song. Yeah, overall, like the kills are cool. I like the way he yeah, like there's an RV scene in it where shit goes down, and how he kills certain people in that one. And you know, you get heads being like freaking you know, twisted full 180 360, and it was pretty gnarly. And the ending was really cool. I like how they did it. And it's a revenge story for Tommy Jarvis too, because it's like all the shit that he was put through. You know, he came back to try to finish off Jason, but he fucks up and he brings him back, and now he has to fucking off him again. And it's a fun one. Like I said, overall, Part 6, Jason Lives, fucking total thumbs up. Watch that one. That one's cool. If you don't give a shit about any other of these movies, I would highly recommend Part 6. It's a fun one, and yeah, overall, great fucking movie. All right. You're down to number one, baby. And this one, of course, my favorite, my personal favorite, Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter is such a crazy, fun one for me. I love everything about this movie. The kills that Jason does, the way that Jason looks. You got Crispin Glover in this movie. The characters are so fucking stupid, and it's like, it's just a crazy fun ride. And we watch these movies to just get taken out of our element and just go in for a wild ride, and we just want to turn off our brains and just watch Jason go ham on people. And like these group of teenagers are just like out there trying to have fun, and then some are cheating and all this stuff, and they get all mixed up, and then Jason just is out there in the shadows lurking around and just offing everybody one by one. And the way he does these kills are freaking gnarly. There's a shower scene that is absolutely insane, and I believe that one too might have got butchered down as well when it came to like to censorship or whatever the fuck it was, but that was gnarly. Also too, I do love the final girl in this movie. She did a great job. Oh, you also got Corey Feldman in this movie, and he's a little kid, and the way he is in this movie, it's pretty funny as well. But overall, great freaking movie. I love this one. I watched it in theaters, I would say like a year or two ago. It was a fun experience watching it in the big screen, just because it is one of my favorites. Like I said, Part 6 and Part 4 are always like, going back and forth with me. But this one is such a fun ride, and I just love everything about it. Like I said, the final girl is awesome. Jason just is a beast, and when it gets revealed at the end, the way he looks, he is fucking scary as shit in this one. And I love how it ends and what happens to him at the end. And then you get Corey Feldman, who plays young Tommy Jarvis, and what you think might happen after the fact is like, oh shit, like what is going to happen with Tommy, because Tommy kind of seems a little off at the end of the movie. And yeah, you're kind of like wondering like, are we gonna do something with him, maybe being Jason next? But yeah, with Friday the 13th, the final chapter, I do highly recommend watching it. It is so much fun. It takes place right after Part 3. So if you haven't seen Part 3, it kind of jumps right into it. I mean, you really don't have to know too much about it, but it is a direct sequel to Part 3. And I believe and with this one, this is like the final time where you have I would say humanoid Jason. This is before he's actually killed. And in Part 6 is where he's resurrected into a zombie form of himself. So this is the last of humanoid Jason, and I do like this version a lot, and I just think it was pretty gnarly. And like I said, he was brutal as shit in this one. And all the characters that played, all the top ones that I liked, the actors that portrayed Jason, they did it really well. They made him freaking scary, him running around and him just doing his thing and freaking wielding his machete. And on Part 4, this one, there's a cool scene where he's chasing the final girl, and she's just slashing away with a machete and gets caught between his fingers, and you're just looking at it okay, what the fuck? He's just I don't give a shit. No, there's no pain. And when Corey Feldman's character just goes ham on him at the end, yeah, gnarly as fuck. So yeah, guys, that is my rankings of all the Friday the 13th films. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I had a lot of fun going over it. And like I said, it might change later on. I might switch some positions on some of these films, but as of right now, this is what I like. So if you do have your own rankings, if you watch all 12 of these movies, and God forbid you watch some of the worst ones, but if you watched them, what do you rank them at, and which one's your favorite, and what do you like about it? And just let me know what you think about it, and let me know what you think about this video. Did you have fun watching it? And let me know what franchise that is one of your top ones as well. Maybe I'll go over that as well. I know that there's a bunch of them, like Saw. We got we got Child's Play. We got Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. We got a bunch to go over. So this is for the sake of Friday the 13th, and I hope you have a great Friday the 13th. Enjoy. Watch some Jason. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one, okay? Peace out. See you on the next one.